I got these fresh eyes, never seen you before like this. My God, you're beautiful. It's like the first time when we opened the door for we got used to usual. It might seem superficial, stereotypical man. You dress up just a little and I'm like, oh, damn.
Excited?
Excited.
All right, hey guys. So we are here in Jamaica with my husband, and he's agreed to do a question and answer. So we are going to quickly go through some of the questions that you guys submitted last week that you wanted him to answer. So the first question is from Megan, and she wants to know if Darren has any overall advice for stepmoms and their husbands, just from lessons that you've learned along the way.
I think my biggest piece of advice that I would give is to keep communication open between everybody, including the kids. That would be the biggest thing I could say to a stepmom is when there's an issue, bring it up right away. Don't let things build up and end up being a blow up.
Yeah, that's good. All right, so Kayla wants to know how important it is to you that Jamie is doing well and that her needs and emotional well-being are okay. And what do you do when you know that she isn't? So when I'm not doing well, how do you know?
I can tell by your mood, obviously, but I think it's very important that I am cognizant of your emotions and your feelings. And what do? I think I try and address any of the issues that have come up right away. I take you on a date night if you need some alone time. I just am there for your support because I know sometimes it can be a thankless job being a stepmom, and you don't get the moments that I maybe get with my children, but you get a lot of the work that comes along with being a stepmom.
That's true. That is very true. All right, so along that line, Jess wants to know, do you ever feel bad or guilty for the struggles that Jamie has to go through as a step-parent?
Sure. Obviously, if you know, there's times when you have to deal with my ex-wife or the children or issues, especially if I'm working or I'm not around, and yes, I at times feel bad for the situations that you get put in.
Well, thank you. All right, what is the most effective way for Jamie to approach an issue when she disagrees with the rules in the home? And that question is from Jen.
That's actually a tough question because there are times when I think right away you should approach the issue and bring it up. There's other times where I really think you should bite your tongue and wait for the appropriate moment to talk to me about it. And I know we've had these discussions before, and it doesn't always work out that way.
Biting your tongue can be hard.
I do think there are times when yes, bring up an issue right away. Other times, think about it and bring it up at a more appropriate time. One, when I'm heading out the door to do garbage and I'm late for work, is not probably the best time to bring something up that can be talked about later.
Yes, and I've learned that lesson twice. Yes, you know what, that's something that we talk about a lot, is like taking 24 hours or even, you know, a few hours just to mull it over and figure out, you know, if it's really something that's worth getting all worked up about.
Very true.
And sometimes we do that and sometimes we don't, but it's a work in progress. Okay, so Holly wants to know what's the best way Jamie can support you when there are issues with custody and access or co-parenting, like when things come up with the kid's mom. If it's a stressful situation, like how's the best way that I can support you?
That's another good question. I think the support comes from advice at times. I do like to, you know, we can sometimes put our blockers on and not be open to different ideas. So I think advice is a good one. I think just some hugs and kisses and support that way, and yeah, I like your opinion, but also respect that I might not always take your advice because of the way I feel.
And how do you think that stepmom should deal with that when, because there's so many times when I'll say, I think that you should do this, this, and this, and you're like, no, I should not, right? Like, how do you think that we should take that feedback when you don't necessarily agree with what we think the next step should be? Because there's times when that's the case.
Yeah, I wouldn't take offense to it. I mean, everybody you know, obviously you want to know I value your opinion, but I wouldn't take offense if I don't take your opinion. Sometimes I have to make my own mistake, even if your opinion or your direction is right. I have to make my own mistake and learn from it. Other times you may not understand what's going through my mind, or I may be looking at a bigger picture than that particular issue at hand. So I think it's just being understanding that, again, I value your opinion, but I don't always take it, and it could be right or wrong.
That's true. He does not always take my opinion. All right. So the last question is from Jennifer, and she wants to know how you feel about Jamie taking role with discipline with the kids, and how have you supported her and coached the kids to respect her? That's just something that kind of happens for us, right?
I think for us it came from my hours at work. Jamie was typically home with the kids after school alone, so she had to fill in for the discipline because I a lot of times wasn't there when I am there, and my support is to try and agree with your disciplinary actions. Also setting the rules, and if you are following them, make sure I'm supporting that you're following through with punishment or discipline.
And we've had a lot of questions, like, or a lot of conversations just about you know, what the rules are in our house, and we go back and forth and we change them, and we, you know, we're always talking about it, right? So it's really important, you know, to have those conversations, because it has to be something that works for both of us, right? You know, I can't set the rules and expect Darren to go by them if he doesn't necessarily agree with them, and vice versa. So there's a lot of compromise that we've compromised a lot, figured out what works for us.
And one of the biggest issues, and I think this is really important for a stepmother, is I sometimes feel, you know, when we have a shared access to the children, I see the kids every other week. So I have the kids for 1 week and then I don't have them, and it's tough sometimes to punish them when you're only going to see them for a week and then they're going to be away. So to ground them is often difficult, but again, it's something that you really still have to do, because you don't want kids to grow up without any sort of discipline.
And someone had submitted that question just about whether or not you feel guilty when you do have to punish the kids, or when you know, have to enforce discipline when you're not with them all the time, right? And you do, you definitely feel that way.
Oh, absolutely. Go from being with your kids every day, waking up with them, to then all of a sudden you're now 50% and half your year is essentially gone. So yeah, when they come back, you want to make the most of it, love them, and have fun with them, but you still have to be a parent, and I think we have struggled, or I've struggled with that.
Yeah. Any other overall advice or anything that you want to pop in? Because I'm not sure I'm going to get another Q&A for a while.
Again, communication is so important. If things are bothering you as a stepmom, I think you really need to talk to your partner and let them know that things are bothering you, and sometimes it might be something that's bothering you, but you don't have an explanation of why it's going on from, again, my viewpoint. Sometimes I have to tell you, this is why I'm doing this, and you'll be okay. I understand that. So
yeah, you have to hear what the other person is saying and, like, put yourself in their shoes, because sometimes I'll think something's black and white, and then when I hear Darren's perspective on it, I realize that it's not. And yeah, just hearing each other's point of view, I think that's huge. And I'm not sure we did that right away, but I think we've learned to be a little more empathetic.
Yeah, and positive feedback is always great too. I mean, because these are tough situations, and it's tough being a stepmom. I sometimes have to tell Jamie, you know, you're doing a wonderful job. I mean, you second guess it sometimes because it's not a typical situation, or typical family situation, and there can be very different dynamics when you're dealing with an ex-partner or dealing with kids that aren't your own kids. And so I think it's positive reinforcement too when Jamie does wonderful things for the kids. So I let her know that, you know, I think that was great. Thank you very much.
So have your husbands watch that part, right? They need to be telling you that you're doing an awesome job, because we need to hear it.
It's true. It's true.
It's thankless job sometimes.
Yeah. No, there's times.
Yeah. Anyway, that's it. You're off the hook. All right, thanks so much, guys. If you have any other questions that you do want Darren to answer, I'm not sure I'm going to get him on video anytime soon, but I will be sure to ask him, and I can reply to your email or perhaps put it in an upcoming blog post. All right?
All right.
Thanks, honey.
You're welcome.
All right.
Ooh.